is Memorial Day weekend, a weekend of remembrance all around our nation. And the Sunday of Memorial Day weekend, I mean, the perfect day to be out here at the ballpark. Those young Cub fans hoping for a Cubs win today as they try to take this series 2 of 3. The Cardinals and Cubs matching up here from Wrigley Field. Hi again, everyone. Bob Brenly and Len Casper with you. Really heating up here. The wind is blowing out, but the way the Cubs starters have pitched lately, who knows? Maybe that won't matter today.
You know, Len, it's amazing. When your starting pitching is good, it hides a lot of warts. It pushes a lot of things to the back burner, and the Cubs have had fantastic starting pitching on this homestand, starting with Dempster on Tuesday against the Dodgers, Ted Lilly on Thursday, Carlos Silva yesterday. You put up those kind of numbers, it takes a lot of pressure off your offense.
Cardinals had that big 5-run first yesterday. They haven't done a whole lot since. It's been kind of a slow start for Matt Holliday, but he has had a good series.
He's had a pretty good series here against the Cubs. It's been a little bit of a disappointment this season, batting under 200 with runners in scoring position. The Cardinals batting only .242 against left-handed pitching this year. You have to believe Holliday is going to heat it up as the weather gets warm.
Getting ready for the first pitch, but let's send it down to the field.
Yes, to Wrigley Field. Lieutenant Kevin S. Kirk recently returned from his deployment in support of Operation Enduring Freedom. While on leave, Lieutenant Kirk will be visiting 13 different baseball stadiums in 14 days. Lieutenant Kirk is currently serving with 25th Signal Battalion in Afghanistan. The Chicago Cubs would like to take this moment to thank Lieutenant Kirk and every serviceman and woman for their courage and sacrifice in defending this great country. Ladies and gentlemen, at the conclusion of the national anthem, an American bald eagle named Challenger will soar down onto the field. Challenger is a non-releasable bald eagle cared for by the nonprofit American Eagle Foundation, headquartered at Dollywood in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. He's named in honor of the space shuttle crew. Acting as an ambassador for his species, Challenger has raised a great level of national public awareness about the need to restore and protect America's eagles, natural resources, and environment. The bald eagle is still a protected species throughout the lower 48 states, and much of its nesting and feeding habitat is being encroached on by humans. Let's keep America's eagles flying strong and free. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please join Wayne and Kathleen Messmer as they honor the United States by first performing God Bless America, followed by the Star-Spangled Banner.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains, to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof flag was still there. Oh, say does the star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
So that gets you set for Cubs baseball here on Comcast Sportsnet. Ryan Dempster, arguably the Cubs ace, will help the Cubs hopefully win this series. We'll be back.
To test drive a Lexus today. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois. Member owned means our reason for being is your well-being. Experience wellness everywhere. AT&T. Rethink possible. And by Southwest Airlines. Visit southwest.com. Grab your bag. It's on.
Back here at Wrigley Field as the Cubs finish up a homestand that they have started 3-2. And Bob says you always want to win on getaway day, and I think especially today. You're playing the biggest rival in your division, the Cardinals. And this is a big 11-day, 9-game trip on the horizon as the Cubs will head to Pittsburgh, Houston, and Milwaukee. 3 very beatable teams, 2 of which have had the better of the Cubs so far this season.
I was going to say, if the Cubs have learned anything in the early going this season, it is the fact that you take absolutely nobody for granted. You'd like to think that the Cubs can go into Pittsburgh and Houston and Milwaukee and do some damage and come home with a winning record on the road trip, but at this point of the season, I think they're in that day-to-day mode, which is absolutely what you want to have as a baseball player and a baseball team. Just win today's game.
The Reds are hosting the Astros. They are scoreless in that ball game in the top of the 5th. Mike Leake pitching another beauty for Cincinnati. Not today, but before that, the Reds really have started to heat up offensively. And you see all those 3 teams behind the Cubs in the standings, all coming up on this next trip. Well, the big story today is Carlos Zambrano is not only back in the rotation, we have an actual day. It'll be Wednesday in Pittsburgh. So Lou answered the question of who goes to the bullpen. Let's hear from the Cubs skipper.
The rotation's going to be Wells on Monday, Lilly on Tuesday, Zambrano on Wednesday. We talked to Gorzolani about the fact that he's going to the bullpen. You know, we didn't expect him to be happy about it, and he wasn't. But at the same time, we impressed on him that he could be very helpful to us. Marshall's a perfect example of that. Also, We'll probably pitch him long initially just to get him acclimated, but truthfully, he can help us in about any role there except the closer's role, where Marmol is our closer.
So Randy Wells, who threw just 16 pitches on Friday, will come back on just a couple days rest and pitch on Memorial Day tomorrow. And we'll see Big Z back in there Wednesday night right here on Comcast Sportsnet.
Well, and if you have any idea what to expect from Carlos Zambrano in his first start since going back into the rotation, please let us know. You'd like to think that Big Z is really up for the challenge. He wasn't happy being a relief pitcher regardless of the role in the bullpen. He's getting back into the rotation where he wants to be. Hopefully we'll see the best from Big Z.
So Z will have the day off today. And let's look in on the Cardinals Southwest starting lineup. Schumacher, Ludwig, who always hits the Cubs well, and he's done well against Ryan Dempster as well. Pujols, our pregame guest, batting third. Matt Holliday in the cleanup spot. David Freese with his second straight start after having the day off Friday. John Jay is in for Colby Rasmus in center. Molina the catcher. Ryan the shortstop. And Adam Wainwright can handle the bat. He'll hit ninth.
Let's take a look at the Cubs defensively. Brought to you by Jimmy John. Soriano, Bird, and Fukudome across the outfield today. Aramis Ramirez at third. Starlin Castro getting his first taste of this Cubs-Cardinals rivalry. You got a feeling he's going to play a major factor in a lot of future games in this rivalry. Ryan Theriot over at second. Derek Lee at first. Giovanni Soto battling a little bit of the flu. He's back in the lineup today. He'll be doing the catching for right-hander Ryan Dempster. Dempster coming off his best outing of the season. 8 innings of 3-hit shutout baseball against the Dodgers. That win snapped a personal 4-game losing streak for Demps. Hopefully he can turn it around and crank off 4 wins in a row.
Mike Estabrook will call the balls and strikes. Dan Bellino, Mike Winters, who's the crew chief, and Hunter Wendelstedt will handle the bases. As we get started, a crazy day in baseball yesterday. Another perfect game. Roy Halladay for the Phillies at Florida. No perfect game for Jamie Moyer today, but he is in the 5th inning in a 0-0 tie. He's given up 1 hit against the pop gun offense of the Florida Marlins, which normally isn't a pop gun offense.
Normally not, but the Phillies pitching staff is certainly making them look like a pop gun offense. I thought when the weather heated up, the offense was supposed to heat up too.
That's the theory. So here's second baseman Skip Schumacher against Ryan Dempster, who has gone 6-6 lifetime versus the St. Louis Cardinals. Schumacher .419 lifetime average against Dempster, and here we go outside on a fastball at 91. The kick and the pitch. A roller into the hole at short. Castro, low throw, but Derek Lee got a good bounce, and they get Schumacher.
Not sure if that was by design, the way Dave Concepcion used to do it for the Cincinnati Reds, but the long one-hop throw across the diamond to Derek Lee, and plenty of time to get Schumacher at first base. Starlin Castro has really started to look comfortable out there at that shortstop position.
Ryan Ludwig swings and misses at a slider. Two for 9 in the series. Drives that one out in the left center. Marlon Byrd cruising along. 2 down. As we check on the weather stats, 84 degrees. They're saying an east wind at 8, which means technically it's going to be listed as the wind is blowing in, but it doesn't really feel like that. I think it's more blowing across, as you said, to left, and maybe occasionally out to left. I think that basically speaks to the unpredictability and the constant changing of the wind direction here on the north side.
Wait till the bottom of the first inning. The flags may be blowing the opposite direction. But for right now, it would appear to help the right-handed pull hitters. And because of the warm day, it feels like an offensive day. Of course, the two starting pitchers will have a lot to say about that.
One strike on Albert Pujols. One hit in the series. That was a go-ahead 2-run single in the first on Friday. Only Adam Dunn has more homers among active players against the Chicago Cubs. So Dempster got his attention on that last pitch, and this one's cued off the end of the bat. 1-2.
A lot of hitters, after getting dusted, getting pushed off the plate, will jump back into that batter's box, and they so desperately want to hit that next fastball. So Ryan Dempster came in with an off-speed pitch and got Pujols way out in front.
Deep drive by Pujols, and the Cardinals lead 1-0 out on the Waveland. Soto wanted the fastball up, but that's a tricky proposition against Albert Pujols. If you don't get it up enough, that's the result. Well, we say it all the time. When you miss, you got to miss in your favor, and Ryan Dempster unfortunately missed a little too low.
Yeah,
and it was up, but not up enough.
Not up enough. Belt high out over the plate. Giovanni wanted that pitch up above the letters, hoping to get Pujols to chase, and I guess the only thing you can say about that one, at least it wasn't a cheapie.
So that is his 376th career home run. We just showed you the graphic. He was one behind Adam Dunn against the Cubs among active players. Nobody has hit more home runs in the first 10 seasons of a career than Albert Pujols has. Chatting with his new hitting coach, Mark McGwire. Meanwhile, 2-0 on Matt Holliday. Base hit into center. So Holliday with his 5th hit of the series. Now a guy we didn't get a look at on Friday. He had his first day off in 35 games. David Freese got back in there yesterday, went 0 for 3. Putting up excellent numbers in his rookie campaign. Cardinals got him from San Diego prior to 2008, but he's from Missouri. Went to high school in Wildwood, Missouri. Attended Merrimack Community College in South Alabama. Just missed.
Cubs well represented among the National League rookie leaders in batting average. Tyler Colvin at 314, Starlin Castro at 300, bookending David Freese.
Soto slides in, the pitch is down. 2-1. Left-handed hitting John Jay, who's playing center, is on deck. High chopper, Ramirez can't get it, and Castro's just going to eat it. You saw him slip a little bit on the outfield grass. He probably would not have had a play if he kept his footing. That's a hit for Freese, so 3 straight hits after 2 were out.
That ball hit that far in the hole. Really, the only play Starlin Castro may have had was to wheel around and throw back to second base and try to get Matt Holliday, but once he slips out there in shallow left field, he does the wise thing. Just hang on to the baseball. You don't want to compound it by making a throwing error and allowing Holiday to come around and score. Another look from our Coors Light RoboCam. Good decision that time by the youngster.
There's John Jay, a second-round pick back in '06 out of Miami of Florida. And he's also from Miami, Florida. And he takes it inside for ball one. First start in center. He's now made starts at all three outfield spots. He was off to a blistering start at AAA before he got called up in late April. Inside 2-0.
One of the things you check on a stat sheet with a young player like John Jay is will he take a base on balls? In 32 previous at bats so far this season, he's yet to take a walk.
Ryan has a sign from Giovanni Soto. That's hit foul, 2-2. Beautiful, lazy Sunday afternoon. Much of the working world will be quiet tomorrow, so you kind of treat this like a Saturday. Although I feel like every day at Wrigley Field is a Saturday, don't you?
I think most of the fans feel that way, too.
The minute you walk into this ballpark, you're in a time capsule. It's always Saturday. Hit foul off to the left, out of play.
Given the numbers that I gave on John Jay earlier, the fact he hasn't drawn a walk yet this season, ahead in the count 2-2, you'd like to see Ryan Dempster throw one around the edges of the strike zone, moving further out of the zone, see if you can get the youngster to chase a bad pitch here and get himself out.
Strike three to end the inning. Pujols hit one about 600 feet on the Waveland. Not really that far, but it was a long one. And the Cardinals strike first. it off. He had 3 walks yesterday in the Cubs' 5-0 win. Terrio, Lee, Ramirez back in there after having the day off. Marlon Byrd, Alfonso Soriano, Giovanni Soto catching. Starlin Castro right at 300 batting 8th, and the pitcher Dempster 9th. And tall Adam Wainwright is ready to go. A strike to Fukudome. Wainwright probably should have at least 7 wins. Bob, his last time out, 7 innings, 1 run, 12 strikeouts, and a loss. 1-0 at San Diego.
Hang with him. This guy led the National League in games started, innings pitched, had 19 victories last season to lead the National League.
High fly ball, right center. It's Jay underneath.
Let's take a look at the rest of the Cardinals defensively today. Behind Adam Wainwright, Holiday in left. Jay we've seen in center field. Ryan Ludwig over in right field. Freese, Ryan, Shoemaker, and Pujols across the infield. Best in the business, Yadier Molina behind the plate once again today for right-hander Adam Wainwright. Mentioned his numbers from last season. He received more first-place votes for the Cy Young than any other pitcher. However, he finished 3rd behind Tim Lincecum and teammate Chris Carpenter.
By the way, and the average will have gone down after Fukudome flied out. Lefties hitting under 200 versus Adam Wainwright this season. 1-1 to Ryan Terrio. Bouncer to Brendan Ryan. Slings it across for the out.
Now from Wainwright, you'll see a fastball that he'll sink and also throw a 4-seamer. You'll see a curveball, a slider, an occasional straight changeup. His curveball is considered to be his out pitch. But on a given day, he can use any one of his 4 weapons to get out righties or lefties.
It's an interesting matchup here between 2 guys who have been excellent starters and have been closers in their careers as well. There's the curve to Derek Lee. Wainwright was a starter in the minors. When he came up to the majors, he was a short reliever. An excellent 2006 postseason, had 4 saves in those playoffs as the Cardinals went all the way. Only 3 saves during the regular season. The 1-2 pitch is hit foul by Derek. Still waiting for Derek and Alfonso Soriano to hit their 300th home runs. Sitting on 299. Good day for sunscreen. 2-2. You look like you could have used a little yesterday.
Oh boy,
spent a little time in the sun.
Yeah, I had a great day yesterday. Went to a rooftop party just a couple blocks here from Wrigley Field.
Pretty nasty. Got his curveball working early, and the Cubs go down in order. 1-0 on the Pujols homer. For more information, visit Cubs.com. Ryan Dempster will work to the bottom three in the Cardinal order, starting with catcher Yadier Molina. And Molina takes a strike. Started to talk about this the other day. He's always been known for his defense, but his offense has improved quite a bit over the last few years. Skies it to right, where Fukudome will pull it in.
You know, in Molina's case, I think it's not so much that he became a good hitter, he became a smart hitter. He hits the situations. He's much better with runners on base where he has holes to shoot for in the infield. If he needs a sac fly, he tries to get a ball up in the zone. If a ground ball to short will score a run, he'll do that. He's just become a much more intelligent hitter.
Brendan Ryan. Pinch hit, played short late yesterday, went 1 for 1. Made a couple of nice defensive plays on Friday. See, he's been better lately, but it's been a tough start overall for him at the plate. That's a strike. The Cardinals began the year 18-8, but they've gone a pedestrian 10-14 since to go from a 5-game division lead to second place, and they're currently 2 games out. I remember talking about the Cardinals, Bob, around the 1st of May, saying, man, if they stay as hot as they are, the Cubs are going to be 10 out by the time we see them this weekend. Well, they came back to the pack. Cubs have been a little better lately. They're only 4 behind the wild card leaders going into action today. Terrio backpedaling. Fukudome is in, but it'll be Ryan to take it.
You know, and one thing about both of these ball clubs, if you look at the offensive lineups, both teams very right-handed heavy, and you would assume that they do really well against left-handed pitching, but that hasn't been the case. Cardinals are 7-6 against left-handed starters this year. The Cubs an even 8-8. When you look at all those right-handed bats in both of these lineups, and you would think they would punish the left-handed pitchers.
Wainwright swings away at the first pitch. Starlin Castro is going to peel off as Soriano makes a catch. A nice 8-pitch 1-2-3 second for Dempster. 1-0 St. Louis. Presented by PNC Bank returns to Wrigley Field Wednesday, July 7th. With $2 parking and tickets starting at just $5, fans can get a major league feel for minor league prices. Don't miss the excitement with a famous chicken and fun prizes throughout the game. Order your tickets today by calling 1-800-THE-CUBS or visiting Cubs.com.
Well, that's one of our favorite events here at Wrigley all year long. An opportunity to see the stars of tomorrow today. We encourage all you wannabe scouts to come out here and try to predict which guys on those two rosters will eventually make it to the big leagues.
Ramos back in there. We saw him Friday after missing several days with a sore thumb. And then he was out of there again yesterday. Mike Fontenot had 2 triples as he played third. Curveball strike, 1 and 2.
Fonda with a couple of shift beaters yesterday. Teams have started to play him around to left field because he's gotten so many of his base hits to the opposite field. He picked on a couple of middle in pitches and drove them into the gap in right center. One way to keep the defense honest.
Look at that. He was on the DL a year ago, but got off to a good start. They've worked on maybe changing his grip a little bit to help that thumb. Some extra padding. Inside out swing. Ludwig lays out. He trapped it. No catch. It's a base hit. So the guy who came in with the lowest batting average and lowest on base percentage among all major league qualifiers picks up a base hit.
Yeah, Ludwig clearly trapped that ball. He hit the grass first. He does a nice job of trying to sell it to the umpire, but it was pretty obvious that he did not catch that ball in the air. That wind blowing from right to left may have helped Ramos Ramirez that time knock that ball down a little bit in front of Ludwig.
Good day for Marlon Byrd. On Saturday, 2 hits, an RBI, and he scored twice. And made another one of his patented diving catches.
Anytime you see a guy make as many diving catches as we've seen from Marlon Byrd out in center field this year, it tells you that his head is very still when he's pursuing those line drives. If your head is bouncing at all, it's very, very tough to center that ball into your glove as you're diving for it. But Marlon is able to run on the balls of his feet, keep his head very, very still, and he has made a bunch of highlight reel catches this year already. The good center fielders, the good outfielders, period, will run on the balls of their feet to keep their head from bouncing too much. You'll rarely see their heels hit the ground when they're chasing a ball like this. And Marlon has just been incredible, especially on those ones coming straight in.
Line foul.
Now, we've talked about the Cardinal pitching staff under the influence of Dave Duncan and Adam Wainwright in particular today. It's not unusual to see one of the Cardinal starters begin the game with just a fastball and maybe one of his off-speed pitches, either the straight changeup, maybe the slider, maybe the curveball. And then the second time through the lineup, he'll break out another off-speed pitch to give him something to throw to the hitters that they haven't seen yet. So far, we've seen a lot of fastballs and a lot of the over-the-top curveballs in the early going. Only a couple of sliders. The hitters go back to the dugout after an at-bat. What did you see? What did you see in your at-bat? Well, he threw me 2 fastballs. He threw me 2 curveballs. And the word gets around the dugout, well, he hasn't thrown any sliders yet, so maybe your second plate appearance, you go up there expecting fastball, curveball, and Wainwright can surprise you occasionally with a slider that you haven't seen in your previous at-bat.
Here he comes with a 1-2. It's inside on a fastball. I think Carlos Silva went away from the scouting report a little bit yesterday, throwing his breaking ball a lot more than normal. Gave Coy Hill a lot of credit for calling an excellent game.
It's not hard for a catcher to call an excellent game when the pitcher has excellent stuff and excellent command out there on the mound. That's when it's fun to be a catcher.
Past Wainwright, and Ryan will get the out at first. Ramirez in scoring position for Soriano with 1 out. Time for the Land Rover High Performance of the Month. Cubs left fielder Alfonso Soriano at 310 with 6 home runs in the month of May. Six-seven righty. With his first pitch to Soriano, it's outside.
I just mentioned Wainwright hasn't thrown many sliders, but you figure if he's going to break it out against any Cub hitter, it would be Alfonso Soriano. He missed wide of the plate with that first one. Another one just off the plate away.
This has not been a good matchup for Soriano in the past. There's 4 hits and 26 at bats. Took that one low, 3-0. Giovanni Soto battling some illness yesterday, kind of going around the clubhouse. What do we call that? The crud, the
funk.
The funk. Ball 4, he walked him. Well, whatever it is, Gio has it, but he's feeling better today.
You know what makes that funk feel a whole lot better? An RBI base hit in your first at bat of a ball game. Cures what ails you.
Two on with 1 out, and Soto takes a curveball for a strike. Last year, Wainwright started against the Cubs 5 times, and he went 3-0. He's also 3-0 in this ballpark, even though he has an ERA that's over 5. As a sign from Molina. Slides toward the outside corner. Swing and a miss. Strike 3.
That is a tight curveball. Very tight rotation. Very tough for the hitter to pick it up. It's not one of those big loopy breaking balls that you'll see occasionally. He throws it very hard, has great downward movement.
It's up to Castro with 2 down. The pitcher Dempster on deck. Curveball strike. Castro seeing Wainwright for the first time, but Wainwright seeing Castro for the first time too.
And I started to say I went to a rooftop party right here in Wrigleyville yesterday, listened to Pat and Ron on the radio, and it was just amazing. You would hear Pat describe, here's the pitch, line drive to left, and you could hear the roar from Wrigley Field blocks and blocks away. That was fun.
1-2.
You hear the anthem and the 7th inning stretch singer. It's almost like being at the ballpark.
Sounds like a fun day.
I also heard Ron say that a couple got married. They congratulated him, and Ron said, yeah, they got married in the same church.
Well, that makes sense. Up the middle and a base hit. See if Ramirez can score. Jay up with it. The throw to the plate. He got him. I don't think Aramis ever touched the plate anyway, but Molina applied the tag as Aramis was trying to go around him. We'll get a few looks at it when we come back. That was about as routine as it gets for an outfielder. You see Jay was in shallow center. Yeah, he did get his hand in there, but apparently Molina tagged him first. 1-0 St. Louis. Replay of Hawks and Flyers game 1 tonight at 7. Relive the excitement of the Hawks nonstop assault over the Flyers. Hawks Flyers game 1 tonight at 7 on Comcast Sportsnet. I missed it, so I might have to watch tonight. What a thriller it was. Michael Jordan statue all decked out at Hawks regalia. That's a pretty wild game for a Stanley Cup final. 11 goals.
Busiest guy in the building was the guy running the scoreboard.
2-0 on Schumacher. He leads off the inning with a base hit. Trying to tie it up as Ramirez got thrown out by John Jay.
Jay had all his momentum going toward the plate. With Ryan Dempster, the next scheduled hitter, Mike Quade takes a shot, and really tough to tell from any of those angles whether Molina applied the tag. Ramirez did not think so, but the throw certainly beat him to the plate. A better look this time. Yeah, definitely contact there underneath the right armpit as Ramirez tried to slide wide at the plate. That's one of those situations where you have to take a chance. With the pitcher up next, you can't assume he's going to even put the ball in play. So you take your shot and hope the throw's offline, or maybe Molina has to deal with a bad hop at home plate. Unfortunately, that time it all worked out for the Cardinals.
Ludwig's 7th homer was on Friday. Oh, 0-2 with Schumacher at first, and Dempster will throw over. Still scoreless in Cincinnati. Astros and Reds 0-0 as they sing the 7th inning stretch. Leake went 6 shutout innings to get his ERA down to 2.45. He'll get a no decision. Felipe Paulino still in there for the Astros. 2-2.
Well, all kinds of rumors swirling around the Astros. Some speculation that perhaps they're going to back up the truck and move some of their big contract free agent veteran players, or free agent to be veteran players. Roy Oswalt has indicated his desire to be traded. And the Cardinals are one of the teams that appear to be on the front burner of any potential Roy Oswalt deal.
Yeah, with Brad Penny and Kyle Loesch currently on the disabled list, they might be looking. Right-hander Adam Ottavino made his major league debut yesterday. Took the loss. He wasn't bad. Problem was he walked 6 in 5 2/3. No foul. Cubs' next opponent, the Pirates, trailing at Atlanta 2-0. They're in the bottom of the 5th. Troy Gloss has both RBIs for the Braves, including a home run in the 3rd. Pirates have dropped 4 straight. The Braves have won 4 in a row. Only a half game behind St. Louis in the wild card, and a game and a half behind Philly in the East. I think it's safe to say this is a key guy, with Albert Pujols on deck. There goes Schumacher. Swing and a miss. Throw to second. And it was bounced, which made it a difficult tag play for Terrio. Never did get the tag down, and Schumacher's in with his second steal.
Always a little tougher for a catcher. When that batter swings the bat, you have to stay back an extra split second rather than coming out of your chute quickly and throwing to second base. It looked like Soto could possibly have made contact with Ludwig at home plate. The Cardinals right fielder swung at that pitch. His momentum carried him out over the plate. Gio just threw over the top. If you make contact with that hitter out there over the plate, the runner at second could conceivably be called out. We'll take another look as Ludwig swings and misses. And the Ryan Dempster offering, his momentum carries him out over the plate. Yeah, right there, if you make any contact with that hitter at all, the umpire will call out that runner at second base.
The kick and the 0-1. A little high, maybe a little away.
We were talking about that very play just a couple of weeks ago. You really have to fight your own instincts as a catcher. Instinctively, you want to avoid that guy so you don't make a bad throw to second base, when in reality what you should do is make sure and make contact and go ahead and throw the baseball. You have to make an attempt on that stealing runner, otherwise he'll be granted the base because you didn't attempt to throw.
Schumacher at second, one out, a 2-1 count on Albert Pujols with Matt Holliday looming in the on-deck circle. The pitch outside again, 3-1. Last year's unanimous MVP, second straight for Pujols, the third of his career. Ball 4. And was just not going to give in.
That was one of those pitch around situations. You very easily could have just intentionally walked Albert Pujols. Set up a potential inning-ending double play with Holliday at the plate, but Lou deferred to Ryan's veteran status out there on the mound and trusted that he wouldn't make any mistakes. And the problem with that is, much like with Barry Bonds, Pujols doesn't chase a lot of bad pitches. So if you're going to pitch around him, you're probably better served just going ahead and walking.
So the manager making a rare trip out, in that he's not out to make a pitching change, just to discuss strategy. Bob, when would you decide to go out as opposed to sending Bob Welch or Chuck Niffen, your pitching coach?
If it was a question of what I would call game strategy, I would make the trip. But most of the time, if it was a mechanical issue, if it was just a matter of breaking up the momentum of the other team's offense or giving your pitcher a little bit of a breather, I felt that my pitching coach always had better things to say to the pitcher than I did. But if it was a situation like this where I wanted to make sure exactly how we were going to pitch to Matt Holliday, I would make the trip myself.
Would you ever do it just for a little extra face time?
No. I didn't like FaceTime as a manager. Usually when you get your face on the TV as a manager, it means you screwed something up.
Holliday with a slightly closed stance as he gets ready to hit. Edgar Renteria, Troy Tulowitzki, a few of those guys. This could be two. It goes 5-3. Yeah, that's what Lou told him. Get a ground ball to third, get a 5-3 double play. We'll go to the bottom of the third. It's still 1.
before or after the Cubs game. You don't need a ticket to join in the action. With a new expanded menu and games galore, the Captain Morgan Club is your Cubs headquarters. For more information, visit CaptainMorganClub.com.
Wainwright to Dempster. 1-0 St. Louis. Fouled back. Adam Wainwright has been used as a pinch hitter on rare occasions. He's very good defensively. He won the Gold Glove last year. And we know how good he is on the mound. Tied for first in the majors last year with 19 wins. I hate guys like that. He's good at everything.
He can probably play guitar really good. He's a good bowler. Won the spelling bee in junior high school.
A 1-2 to Dempster. Rollover grounder backhanded by David Freese, and he gets the out. Back to the top, and Kosuke tied his career high yesterday with 3 walks.
And he's taking his sweet time to get up there in that batter's box, giving Ryan Dempster an opportunity to jog back in and now walk back to that third base dugout. A good leadoff hitter supposed to be. All for time, a little extra pine tar, a little extra rosin, tie your shoe, manicure that batter's box. Just to give your starting pitcher an opportunity to get back in the shade, get a sip of water, towel off.
Off the plate inside. I can't even believe I'm going to ask you this question, but I will, because it's being asked all over baseball. Do you think game-ending celebrations will fundamentally change after Kendry Morales broke his leg jumping onto home plate after a walk-off grand slam yesterday?
Well, you would certainly hope so. Jeez, I mean, of all the weird and unusual injuries that we see every year landing guys on the disabled list, you'd hate to think that celebrating a game winner is going to put one of your players on the disabled list, maybe for the rest of the season. I mean, it kills me in football. I love it in football when a running back will run through the 11 defenders and maybe make a 40-yard touchdown run, never be touched by a defender, and then one of his own teammates runs into the end zone and slams him to the ground. It just doesn't seem to make any sense. And some of these dog piles we're seeing at home plate in Major League Baseball, I think most teams are going to try to refrain from that, or at least tone it down a little bit. Since when does a game-winning hit or home run justify a beating from your own teammates?
It's a very surreal situation. They were all excited, and all of a sudden their teammate is writhing in pain on the ground. Another 3-2 to Fukudome, who swings and misses. Wainwright with a strikeout per inning.
I mean, you could see it if it was a Game 7 clincher in the World Series. The Angels are 3 games under 500 going into play today. It wasn't like it was an earth-shattering accomplishment. Congratulations for the game-winning hit, but let's put things into perspective a little bit. Let's wait and celebrate until it means something.
The 0-1 on the way to Terrio. So his knees buckle ever so slightly on the curveball. 0-2. Inside out swing, and Wainwright just looks up toward the sky going, what am I doing? 0-2. Terrio made him pay for bad location.
Yeah, a lot of different ways Wainwright could have gone with any one of his 4 pitches. He chooses to throw a slider. It hangs up belt high out over the plate right in Ryan Terrio's wheelhouse. Our Coors Light RoboCam. That's the Ryan Terrio hole on that right side of the infield.
Strike to Derek. It's in a really good homestand, 8 for 17. A little bit quiet here the last couple of days.
A lot of curveballs in his first at bat. Back-to-back fastballs to start this sequence.
In the hole, surrounded by Ryan. He's going to throw to first. And just enough mustard on it to beat Derek Lee. Cubs lead 1. We've completed 3, and it's 1-0 Cardinals. Great work by the Menards grounds crew, taking care of Wrigley Field. Freese, Jay, and Molina for the visitors in the 4th. The day to be out in the sun. Freese with an infield hit his first time. Dempster wants a new baseball. He missed it earlier. Carlos Zambrano will replace Tom Gorzolani in the rotation. Z will pitch on Wednesday here on Comcast Sportsnet at Pittsburgh. And look for right-hander Andrew Kashner to join the Cubs pen at some point during this upcoming Pirates series. Which means Cubs are going to have to make a move. We're not quite sure what it's going to be. However, with Gorzolani joining the bullpen, that would make 4 lefties in the pen. It sounds like the Cubs are probably not going to stay with 4 lefties. Try to keep it at 3. Called strike 3. Freese is out. It's the 3rd strikeout for Dempster.
Freese right there, outside corner at the knees. Yeah, looking at that bullpen situation, Len, the thing about 4 lefties when Gorzolani joins the bullpen is 3 of the 4 actually get righties out very effectively. And John Grabo really the only lefty that's had problems getting out left-handed hitters this year, or rather right-handed hitters this year. But Gorzolani and Marshall and Russell all have been very effective pitching against the right-handed hitters.
Swing and a miss. 1-1. And for Randy Wells, who's coming back tomorrow on very short rest, he again threw just 16 pitches on Friday. He's going to face a team that knocked him around in Pittsburgh the last time Wells pitched there.
Yeah, a lot of motivation for Randy Wells to take the ball and go out there and do some dealing tomorrow.
Splitter is in the dirt. You saw Gio. He was set up to do just what he did. He wanted that pitch in the dirt. That's where it was, and he was expecting to get a swing and a miss, a block, and maybe a throw to first to complete the out. Problem is Jay didn't swing at it. There's another one. That was nasty.
Fun to watch the development of a pitch for a starting pitcher in a ball game. He may start out in the first or second inning of the game and not have a real good feel for that split finger, but as the game progresses, he makes one good pitch with it and then another good pitch with it, and before you know it, he's able to spot that pitch on both sides of the plate and get everybody out.
Terrio throws out Molina. Another quick pitch inning for Ryan Dempster. 1-2-3 frame. Who was the last major league pitcher to win at least 7 games in his first 10 starts with his new team? Answer coming up. I'll give you a hint. It wasn't that long ago. Don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but I think Carlos Silva looking pretty good to hang around Southern California when the Cubs finish the first half at Dodger Stadium. The All-Star game is in Anaheim. Ramirez hit a rocket down the line. We hope everybody's all right. 0-2 the count on the Cubs' third baseman. Another one pulled in a section over from the last one. That one, however, was caught. And he kept his beverage intact.
That's the key to any good play in the stands.
Other than the 0-2 mistake Wainwright made to Terrio, notice what he's done. He's been right around the strike zone early in just about every count. And then when he's gone to 2 strikes, he has gone out of the zone. And that time, Ramirez might have been overthinking it a little bit. Fastball in a good spot. And he strikes out looking.
That's a term we hear all the time from pitching coaches. Get ahead in the count and then lead them out of the strike zone. You throw pitches that give the illusion of a strike around the edges of the zone, and then with a little bit of late movement, the hitter tends to expand his strike zone and chase some of those bad pitches. That time Ramirez is caught looking at a fastball in the outside corner.
And you can tell Wainwright is on, because when he wants to throw strikes, he has, and the few times he hasn't, it's been by design, as you say. Deep in the hole. Ryan's throw is going to be late as Pujols will just come off the base, and that'll be a hit for Marlon Byrd.
This play to get to this ball, but Marlon Byrd hustling down that first baseline, just too much speed for Brendan Ryan to throw across the diamond in time to get it. Good effort. Hang with him.
Alfonso Soriano, who has been hosting the young Starlin Castro while the Cubs have been home here in Chicago. 1 strike. They've talked a lot about game situations, just being in the big leagues in general, and Castro's handled it extremely well. That's deep to left. Holiday's just going to watch it one hop the wall out there. Bird on his way to third, where he'll stop after the Soriano 2-base hit. Great chance here now, second and third with only 1 out.
You mentioned the struggles of Soriano against Wainwright in the past. However, this time he gets a fastball on the inside part of the plate and knocks the living daylights out of it. A lot of topspin on that line drive. It looked like it might hang up long enough to possibly sneak into the basket, but as it got further out in left field, it really started to sink. Second and third, 1 out here for the Cubs. Great opportunity.
Cardinal cornermen are in, almost even with the base. They're back up the middle.
Saw Ryan Dempster with an obvious pitch around of Albert Pujols with a base open at first. I think we're seeing a little bit of the same here from Adam Wainwright. Just doesn't look too willing to give in to Giovanni Soto on the first 2 pitches.
Three and 0. Castro is next. Come up with some big hits early on in his career. Couple of game-winning RBIs. 3-1.
You know, that pitch around situation isn't necessarily dependent on how good the hitter is swinging the bat. You just talk about playing percentages, try to set up a possible inning-ending double play. It's going to load him up for Starlin Castro.
Well, we have a chance. Let's answer the AT&T trivia question. prior to Carlos Silva, last pitcher to win at least 7 in his first 10 starts with a new team. CC Sabathia, after he was acquired by Milwaukee from Cleveland back in 2008.
Didn't he have a bunch of complete games in there too, especially at the end of the season? He seemed like he was throwing a complete game almost every time out.
And pitching on short rest as he helped pitch them into the playoffs. So 3 on with 1 out. By far the best opportunity for the Cubs today against Wainwright. Here we go. Castro hits a double play ball. 6-4-3. Well, Bob said they're playing the percentages by working around Soto, and it pays off for the Cardinals. Still 1-0.
$3,695. If you're the 500th texter, you could win $5 footlong subs from Subway.
Well, the Cubs had 3 on with 1 out, and then Starlin Castro hit into a double play to end the threat. A lot of young Cub fans here today. Great to see. School's just about out.
You see Giovanni Soto reminding Ryan Dempster, Derek Lee, and Ryan Terrio, the guys on the right side of the field, watch out for a push bunt. Brendan Ryan likes to push that ball to the right side, try to get it past the pitcher, and then outrun everybody to the base. These little reminders you remember from the advance meeting that you had before the first game of the series. And Giovanni Soto apparently had a flashback. Ryan likes to bunt.
Two 2-0, Wainwright on deck, and then back to the top of the order. That's a strike on a heater. After this one, we won't see the Cardinals again for a while. They'll be back here in late July. We will not go to Busch Stadium until August 13th. It will be about 98 degrees.
Just the way we like it.
Inside, ball 4. There is no guarantee Wainwright will bunt. He probably will be asked to do that, but again, he can swing the lumber. So we'll see how Tony La Russa plays it as Jose Oquendo will flash the signs from third.
And the Cardinals kind of have an organizational policy. Wainwright will probably show bunt very early, then bring the bat back into a hitting position, and then he may swing away or he may bring the bat back around and bunt. This is something all their pitchers do in what appears to be an obvious sack bunt situation.
He only has one sack all year.
I think depending on how aggressively the Cubs play this situation defensively, that will be the determining factor whether Wainwright tries to get the bunt down or goes ahead and swings away. Let's see here, showing bunt very early as Ryan Dempster's getting his sign. Take it back.
Runner goes. That was a hit and run. And the throw glances off, and Ryan now realizes that and will get to third. Not quite sure if the ball hit the glove of Castro or the helmet of Ryan or a little bit of both, but it'll be an error, allowing Ryan after the steal to move up another base. See what it hit.
Yeah, straight hit and run that time. Yeah, it looked like it just hit Castro's glove, maybe trying to catch and tag too quickly rather than just make sure that ball doesn't get into the outfield.
Bounce to Castro. Ryan thought about it, decided to stay at third. The error, by the way, was charged to Soto on the throw, his first error of the year. So the infield in. Schumacher up. He's a ground ball hitter, so this is not a bad move, but he hits a fly ball. Not deep. Ryan ready to tag. Soriano catches it, and Ryan is going to stop again. Schumacher was trying to lift it to the outfield. He did, but not nearly deep enough.
Soriano got caught a little too far underneath the baseball that time, but fortunately for him and the Cubs, it wasn't very deep. You see the bluff over there at third base by Ryan came about 3 or 4 steps down the line. He was going to be out by a mile at home plate. Even though Soriano got too far underneath that baseball, he made up for it by getting rid of the ball quickly right on line to home plate.
All one to Ludwig. This would be a nice escape if Dempster can get it. Outside corner, 1-1.
Unlike Albert Pujols, Ryan Ludwig is a guy who will go out of the strike zone, especially with that runner sitting down there at third base. He's punched out 47 times, actually 48 times this year. Got a pitch to his liking there on the inside part of the plate, however, and just fisted it into center field for an RBI base hit.
And that makes it 2-0. And Ryan will have to face Pujols in this inning.
Just too good of a pitch that time, as I was just starting to say. Ludwig is a guy who will expand his strike zone in RBI situations. You can get him to chase breaking balls low out of the zone. You can get him to chase fastballs up out of the zone, but that time a pitch on the inside part of the plate wrapped into center field.
Funny, isn't it? You sit here and you talk about Albert Pujols just hasn't been himself this year. He's hitting .303. His on base is over 400. He's slugging over 500.
He's probably on pace for 30 homers and 110 RBI.
His contract runs through next year. He can become a free agent after next year. He actually makes $1 million less than Matt Holliday does after Holliday signed that huge deal. But if Albert signs a new contract with the Cardinals, that will be corrected. I would not be surprised to see him make more than anybody else in the game on a yearly basis in his next contract. The question is, will it be with the Cardinals? People want to know why salaries seem to escalate at a ridiculous pace. It's because it's the leapfrog effect. It's when you sign your deal. And Matt Holliday just happens to be the most recent guy to sign a huge contract. When you look at it, you go, yeah, he's good, but wait a minute. He's making more than Albert? Foul tip. Strike two.
All I know is somebody better start printing some money, because it's going to take a bunch. I mean, it isn't totally out of the question that Albert Pujols will make as much in a year as some teams have for their entire roster.
The kick and the 1-2 way outside. That's a good block by Soto. Look where he ended up. Outside of the left-handed batter's box to go get that pitch.
That's about how far out of the zone you have to go to make sure Albert Pujols doesn't make solid contact. One hopper over in that left-handed batter's box. I talk about it all the time, Len. You get hitters in there digging toe holes in that batter's box, and then a pitcher bounces one through that area. You never know exactly where it's going to go. Albert made his presence felt early here today with 2 outs in the first inning. Ryan Dempster tried to sneak a high fastball by him, didn't get it high enough, and Albert cranked it out onto Waveland Avenue.
Second go-ahead RBI of the weekend. Was able to hold up. Full count. Ludwig will go with the pitch. Another 1-0 game in Florida. This time it was the Marlins winning. The Phillies won last night on the Halliday perfect game. Ball Sanchez over Jamie Moyer today. Here it's 2-0 St. Louis. As Ryan Dempster's trying to get out of the top of the 5th. There goes Ludwig, and Pujols fouls it back to the netting. Nine innings, 27 batters, nobody reached. 20th perfect game in history, second this year. Dallas Braden had the other.
The amazing thing about it is I think when Dallas Braden did it, a lot of people were a little bit surprised. I don't think anybody was surprised when they heard that Halliday had thrown a perfect game. And I don't think anybody would be surprised if he does it again.
The next 3-2 also hit foul. Secret weapon Jose Oquendo flips it into the seats.
Jose Oquendo, a guy that's starting to generate some buzz as a possible managerial candidate somewhere.
For the most part, Tony's staff has been pretty consistent over the years. Again, they do have a new hitting coach, Mark McGuire, but Dave Duncan, Jose Oquendo, Dave McKay, Marty Mason, Joe Patini, they've been with Tony for a long time.
Really, the hitting instructor is the job that seems to change the most often for the Cardinals, or for any Tony La Russa managed team for that matter.
Another 3-2 and another blast for Pujols. And it's going to be fair, and another one on the Waveland, a 2-run bomb. A couple of monster home runs for Pujols today to make it 4-0.
Came on a breaking ball from Ryan Dempster. Another pitch that just kind of spun up there in the middle of the plate. You just cannot make mistakes to this guy when he is locked in at the plate, and so far today he has been extremely locked in. Not only 2 home runs, 2 tape measure home runs. And the real key to that was his ability to foul off all those borderline pitches, some of them well out of the strike zone, to stay alive in the count. We talk about it all the time. Just try to give that pitcher an opportunity to make one more mistake, and that time Dempster hung a pitch up over the heart of the plate.
Swing and a miss by Holiday. It's 1-1. Third career 2-homer game. He's had 3 games in which he's hit 3 home runs. I told Dave Kaplan he probably wouldn't want to play every game here at Wrigley because of the less than modern facilities in some areas, but he's had a good day today. Among all visiting ballparks now, the only park in which Albert has hit more home runs is PNC in Pittsburgh, 23. He's now hit 22 here at Wrigley. Slow bouncer as Ramirez comes in. The throw's late. Another 2-hit game for Matt Holliday.
It's that high chopper off the home plate. By the time Ramirez got to it, he had to take 3 or 4 extra steps before delivering on to Derek Lee, and by then Holliday had easily beaten it out at first.
Was it just me, or Ramos just doesn't seem to be moving that well? Swing and a miss.
We saw him get thrown out at home plate. I mean, Aramis has never been a fast runner, but like it took him an awful long time to round the bag at third and get on down the line. Of course, he got gunned down by the center fielder John Jay on that particular play, and that time just very slow reacting to that chopper to the left side. Took 3 or 4 extra steps before delivering on to first base. I'll tell you, when you're in a hitting funk the way Ramirez has been this year, it affects every aspect, not only of your game on the field, but every aspect of your life. 1, 2, 3. 3 extra steps before getting rid of that ball across from Derek Lee. I don't believe they would have had Holliday anyway. That ball was high in the air when it chopped off the plate, but no chance taking that long to get rid of it.
One, 2 on Freeze. Cubs having a similar problem today to the one they had Friday. They're trailing by multiple runs, and they're facing a Cy Young caliber pitcher in Adam Wainwright. It's one thing to be down 4-0 against certain pitchers and certain teams, but Wainwright's been pretty sharp. And then remember the chance the Cubs had in the last half inning. They had the bases loaded, down only 1. With only 1 out, Wainwright got out of it.
You get the feeling it has to be a quick strike if you're going to put multiple runs on the board against Wainwright. He doesn't give up a lot of home runs, only 3 in 76 innings this year, but it's even tougher to try to string together 3 or 4 or 5 base hits in an inning and score in that fashion.
Remember how this inning has gone. It's been a while since it started. Ryan walked, stole second, ended up at third on a throwing error by Giovanni Soto. But then Dempster got the next 2 guys, had a chance to get out of it with no damage. Ludwig then singled with 2 outs before Pujols gave him a long battle and hit the home run. Dempster still not out of it. Holiday at first and a 2-2 count on Freese. Been a 33 pitch 5th inning. Runs have been an issue for Dempster this season. Giving up 10 on the year. About a home run per start. Last year he gave up 22 home runs in 31 starts. Very short lead by Holiday. Another 2-2 is high. And a 3-2 count. Dempster is slated to lead off the bottom of the 5th. I don't guarantee he's going to take that at bat. Called strike 3. As he gets Freese, but they score 3 with 2 outs. Pujols caps it with a 2-run home. Albert Pujols is going to have a few good games. You just try to limit the damage. Unfortunately, they haven't been able to do that today.
Yeah, we were talking between innings, Len. With the premier hitters in baseball, sometimes you can tell their first at bat of the ball game by the way they take pitches, the way they swing the bat at the ball, and Well, it sure looked like Albert was locked in his first at-bat of this game when he knocked one out onto Waveland Avenue, and then he came back to prove it in his third at-bat in the game, doing it again.
Ryan Dempster is going to stay in. 1 strike. One hopper to Brendan Ryan. Throws him out. Want to see a Cubs game from the front row here at Wrigley Field? Now you can. Visit Cubs.com. Click on the CBOE front row auction to bid on tickets in the front row behind home plate and along the first base line. Front row seats will be auctioned off to every game all season long. Don't miss your chance. Go to Cubs.com. Check out the CBOE front row auction today.
It happened so quickly we didn't really get a chance to talk about it, but I really think you got a hit for Ryan Dempster right there, Len. He's given up 7 base hits and a couple of walks in 5 innings of work in this game. The Cubs are trailing by 4 runs, and they only had 15 outs left to play with in this game against one of the toughest pitchers in the National League. I really think you got to try to take your shot offensively in that particular situation.
So a couple of relievers stretching in between innings, but then Dempster came into the on-deck circle and everybody sat down. One cooking in Cincinnati. 0-0 in the bottom of the 9th. Astros and Reds. The Reds have the bases loaded with 2 outs. That game is either going to end this next at bat, or they're going to head to the 10th. We'll let you know. Wainwright throws out Fukudome, 2 outs.
Getting back to that Dempster at bat, the Cubs pinch hitters recently 6 for their last 9, and provided quite the spark in some of those ball games, especially Tyler Colvin when he's come off the bench. Mike Fontenot's done a great job as a pinch hitter. No guarantee they would do anything against Adam Wainwright, but I have to believe they have a better chance of generating some offense than Ryan Dempster.
A little high to Terrio. Pitcher strike, 1-1. It has been well documented that Ryan has not walked since the first day of this month. And Wainwright just stole away a potential hit that time. 3 groundouts, shutdown inning for Wainwright. It took him just 9 deliveries. Of Bill Smith lasting impressions. The inspirational story of a famed Chicago sports photographer whose life changed forever with a trip to Cambodia. It's a tale of heartache, hope, and love. Bill Smith, lasting impressions, tomorrow night at 7 on Comcast Sportsnet. John Jay has struck out twice. He lifts it deep to right. Fukudome will haul it in right on the warning track. One away in the Cardinals' 6th.
That's a way to watch a ball game right there. Somebody spoon feeding you ice cream.
Molina 0 for 2, but he's catching a shutout.
I've referred to Yadier Molina a couple of times in this series as the best in the business, and if you don't believe me, just listen to these numbers. For the season, he's thrown out 11 out of 21 attempted base stealers. That's 52%. Since 2005, the Cardinals have allowed 257 stolen bases, which is over 100 better than the second place team, the Minnesota Twins. I mean, it's to the point now where most teams just don't run on the Cardinals.
He also isn't afraid to throw to any base at any time. Lots of pickoffs.
Very good at blocking balls in the dirt. He's done a nice job of handling his 2 Cy Young candidates in that starting rotation, but also handling a lot of the youngsters that the Cardinals have rotated into and out of their bullpen this year.
It's not Eddie Vedder, but it sure looked like it. Dempster off the mound. He's going to barehand it and gets Molina. They've gone to the 10th now. Houston and Cincinnati scoreless in extras. The Blackhawks are in the Stanley Cup final. Now is your chance to win tickets to see Game 2 inside the United Center. Text playoffs to BHawks. That's 242-957 to join Blackhawks Mobile and be entered to win a pair of tickets to watch the Blackhawks play in the Stanley Cup Finals. That's playoffs to 242-957. Everyone has Blackhawks fever. Upstairs to Brendan Ryan. Pirates have tied the Braves 2-2. They are in the top of the 8th in that one. Jeff Clement with a game-tying 2-run homer in the 7th. Mets and Brewers are tied 2-2 in the 6th. Ricky Weeks hit a leadoff homer in the first inning for the Brewers. Knuckleballer R.A. Dickey, who drove in a run in the 4th. Dodgers and Rockies 2-2 halfway through the 3rd. Way outside, it's full 3-2 with the pitcher Wainwright on deck. Here it is. Swing and a miss. Cubs need to get something going offensively. They'll leave it up to the middle of the order guys. Lee, Ramirez, and Bird trailing 4-0.
Field offering a spectacular view and catered service for groups of 75 to 100. The Bud Light Batter's Eye is a great option for entertaining in Chicago's unpredictable spring weather and is also available for non-game day functions. To book your date or for more information, visit Cubs.com/suites or call 773-404-4200.
The 0-1 to Derek Lee. A curveball dropped in nicely. 0-2. Five shutout innings for Adam Wainwright as he seeks his 7th win of the year. Again, a tough luck loser his last time out. Barely missed. 2-2. Wainwright has gone at least 6 innings every start and at least 7 innings, 7 out of his 10. Coming into today. 2 complete games. He strikes out D. Lee. I heard a lot of superlatives in describing Carlos Silva's outing yesterday, and a lot of it came from the Cardinal clubhouse. I have a feeling we're going to hear similar comments from Cubs hitters today regarding Adam Wainwright. Ramirez very late on that swing. Foul strike.
And we're here in the 6th inning. You could probably count on one hand the number of pitches that Wainwright has left over the middle of the plate where the Cubs hitters could really get a good rip at it. Otherwise, they've been quality pitcher strikes around the edges of the zone, and when he gets ahead in the count, we talked about it, he's able to lead the hitter out of the strike zone. He just has made very few mistakes in this game. Much like Silva yesterday.
Tapped foul. Thomas asks for an extra second before this 1-2 pitch. It's a slider that was up, and Ramirez fouled it back. Former Bulls point guard B.J. Armstrong will conduct the 7th inning stretch this afternoon. Somebody asked me today, are the Cubs going to get back into this thing? And the honest answer is, I don't have a feel for it yet. We're 2 months in. Are the Reds going to be as good as they are now 2 months from now? Cardinals again were better in April than they've been here in May. We've seen the Cubs in a much better stretch here lately. How is Big Z going to fare back in the rotation? Can the guy at the plate finally get it together? I'm not sure anybody knows. What I do know is there's still a long way to go. That's the best news for a team like the Cubs that is chasing at the moment. And Jay makes the catch. I think it's getting much more difficult than ever, Bob, when you look at all the teams in baseball to try to figure it out. A lot of very similar teams.
And, you know, you always have to factor in some injuries. I mean, the key player for the Cubs this season may not even be on the roster right now. It happens every year. You get into the middle part of the season and the day-to-day grind of the game starts to take its toll. You might have to reach into the minor leagues or make a deal to bring in some help. But I would tend to agree with you. It's very tough to read Major League Baseball this year. There's only a couple of teams that you can really look at and say, yeah, they're a good ball club. They got a chance to really do something this year. Everybody else is just kind of bunched in that big group right behind them.
And not knowing is okay too, you know. You just kind of watch it play out. That's part of the fun. Astros got 2 in the top of the 10th in Cincinnati. On a Lance Berkman double. Swing and a miss to end the inning. Wainwright goes 1, 2, 3 in the 6th. On to the 7th. Cardinals 4. Steel City as Starlin Castro and the Cubs square off with Andrew McCutchen and the Pirates. Coverage begins with Chevy Cubs pregame live at 5:30. Cubs Pirates Tuesday night at 5:30 on Comcast Sportsnet Plus, fans' best friend. A strike to Wainwright. We're in the 7th. Double barrel action. Grabo the lefty, Howery the righty. One and two.
I'm telling you, Len, I'm going to come up with some kind of a cup holder for the bullpen. Get a shot of those two guys warming up for the Cubs down the left field line, each of them with a drink right behind their heel as they warm up.
Castro the first, Wainwright hustling. They get him by a step. Where would you put it?
There's a lot of details to be worked out.
Okay, all right.
It's just very much in the formative stages right now, but
I worry about dirt getting into those cups.
Yeah.
How about just a top?
And
a lid.
A lid and a straw.
Well, there's a nice ledge there. I guess you might worry that a fan could possibly take your drink. Wouldn't want that. Could set it on the phone box.
That's where Lester Strode keeps his advanced scouting reports.
Yeah,
that's more important than your drink.
It is a dilemma.
Yeah, it really is. Something like a holster that the pitcher would actually wear.
The 2-0 right down the middle, 2-1 to Skip Schumacher. You could get a bottle of water. That also would help. Pulled foul.
And I guess the bigger question is how thirsty must you be if you have to have the cup of water sitting at your feet as you warm up and you can't take 3 steps over to the bench to grab a bottle of water. You got to have it right there. You get dehydrated.
Especially on a day like this.
One of those hats with the straws on them, you know.
That might be frowned upon by Major League Baseball. I'm just guessing.
Don't bikers wear some type of a backpack, or long distance runners, with some water in the pack and the straw comes over their shoulder? I'm going to do something to take care of those guys, man. This is an issue that just won't go away.
Called strike 3 to get Schumacher.
Schumacher headed down that first baseline. Ryan Dempster gets the benefit of a low strike call that time. Mike Estabrook behind the plate has been very consistent with that low strike today. Both Wainwright and Dempster have been the beneficiaries of borderline pitches down there below the knees.
Ball 1 to Ludwig. RBI single in the 5th, and then he would score on the Pujols home run. Drive out of the deep left center. Soriano going after it. Not going to get there. It's going to one-hop the barrier, and that's a double for Ryan Ludwig. Well, I guess the good news is he left first base open.
And I think based on what we've seen today, well, it's not going to be Ryan Dempster that issues the intentional walk, as Lou is making his way out to the mound and will probably make a pitching change here, you would assume. While we have a moment here as Lou makes his visit to the mound, we talked about Pujols' last at bat in the 5th inning. These are the pitches he saw with 2 strikes. Pitches in the dirt away, he takes it, and he fouls off a pitch off the plate inside. He checks his swing on a ball out of the strike zone, fouls off another breaking pitch, fouls off another pitch off the plate away, and we know where that one ended up. Good hitters have that ability to stay alive in an at-bat, swinging at bad pitches, fouling them off, staying alive, laying off borderline pitches until they finally get that one mistake, and Albert did not miss it.
Lou is going to give his starter a chance. They are going to intentionally walk Pujols to face Holiday. And there's ball 4. The question is Dempster going to get a chance to face Holiday? It appears as though that is the case.
Hey, look at the 2 relief pitchers warming up for the Cubs. Holiday 1 for 3 against Bob Howery lifetime, 1 for 8 against John Graybo. And it's going to be Ryan Dempster going to work against the cleanup hitter for the Cardinals here with a couple of teammates on board. No surprise there.
His teammate Colby Rasmus on that list too. Matt Holiday now has 4 consecutive 2-hit games. And another base hit. Ludwig coming around. Fukudome up with it. Here's his throw to the plate. Not in time. That will spell the end of Ryan Dempster's day as Bob Howery has been summoned.
Holiday going the other way with a runner in scoring position. I mentioned at the top of the show he was batting only .190 on this season with runners in scoring position, but he's definitely improved those numbers here today.
It's a Lexus pursuing perfection. Call to the pen. 5-0 St. Louis. Watch the Hawks outside the stadium. Join the celebration. Visit HarryCarriesRestaurants.com or call 773-HOLY-COW. Right-hander Bob Howery is on with runners at first and second. A run in. David Freese, the batter. And he looks at a strike. Ryan Dempster with a season high 125 pitches in his 6 2/3. Oh, 2.
It was one of those sliders that was so bad it was good. It was intended to be on the outside corner breaking away. It kind of spun back to the inside part of the plate, but Freese was frozen. Took it for a called strike 2.
The final in Cincinnati, 2-0 Houston in 10. Brandon Lyon over Micah Owings. Matt Lindstrom with his 11th save. Up the middle and through. Bird's not even going to try, as Pujols was going to score easily. Bird trying to keep Holiday from getting to third. 6-0.
How important is it to be able to field your position? Little chopper right back over the mound. Bob Howery just fanned on it. Enough topspin on that grounder that it got through into center field for another Cardinal run.
Jay hits it foul. This is the most runs Ryan Dempster has given up all year. Castro backpedaling. He has it. Time to sing the stretch with B.J. Armstrong.
Take me out to the ball game is former Chicago Bull, B.J. Armstrong.
All right, fans, let me hear you. A 1, a 2, a 3. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care wherever good bad, so let's root for. If they don't win, it's a shame. 'Cause there's 1, 2, 3 sacks sure out at the old ball game. Let's get some runs. Go Cubbies!
An NBA champ going back to his Bulls days, and now a representative for Derrick Rose. Nice to see you, BJ.
It's very well. Thank you. It's always great to be here, and it's a beautiful day here in Chicago. If we can just get some runs, it'll make it a very perfect day.
I would agree with that. The Cubs have a lot of work to do here in the late innings. A strike from Wainwright to Alfonso Soriano. So let's talk about Derek Rose.
Well, you know, Derek has really, come on very strong here in his 2 years so far in the NBA, and he's just an exceptional talent, and he's really played very well. And I think with all the young players that they have, Joakim Noah, Todd Gibson, and the things they've been able to achieve thus far, I think it's been terrific for them. But he is a very special player and a special talent.
It's obviously a very important offseason, one of the most important in recent memory for the Bulls.
Yeah, it's it's been a lot of talk here. A few players here, a few players there, but I think right now they're in great position to really do some things and really make a big jump and a big leap in what it is they're going to do here in the future.
Soriano strikes out as Molina had to throw to first as the ball squirted away. I think there's obviously some scuttlebutt about LeBron and where he's going to end up, and all the dominoes that tend to fall after that. Yeah.
I didn't understand. Who did you say that again?
Well, let me ask you. Obviously, Michael had the championships, is widely considered the greatest player of all time. Where does LeBron stand? As Giovanni Soto sends that one into the bleachers.
All right, here we go.
So the Cubs are on the board. It's 6-1. Soto with his 5th homer of the year. As he cranked it out.
All right, let's get this thing going here.
Where does LeBron stand in terms of the greatest of all time in your estimation?
Well, I mean, there's been so many wonderful players over the years, and I think in the modern era, with all these players and the way they're able to train and the equipment and so forth, LeBron is an exceptional physical talent. I mean, you see a man that's 6'8", 240, 250 to move around the court like he does. I don't think we've really seen a player with that much mobility and agility at his size. So physically, I mean, he is as gifted as any has seen, and I think it's to be said where his career is going to end up. I mean, where he's going to rank amongst the best.
Back-to-back hits, the home run, and now the single, and Tyler Colvin will bat in the pitcher's spot for Bob Howry.
BJ, I wanted to ask about your particular career. Made the All-Star team for the first time in 1994 up in Minneapolis. How did that feel, going to an All-Star game with all the greats?
Well, I tell you, a young kid from Detroit and who just dreamed, like so many kids, dream of just making it and playing professional sports. And to be able to be selected as an all-star, as a starter, and amongst your peers, I mean, it's just words really couldn't describe the elation I felt for my family, friends, and all the people along the path of my journey to help me get there. So it was just a great time to make it to the NBA and to, obviously playing the All-Star game. I think it's just icing on the cake.
I have to ask you, I made one All-Star team in my baseball career. Did you have to fight the urge to sit there and go, man, that's...
Well, it's always the other person, and then now you're there, so you're like looking around, and everyone's looking at you. You're like, I want to get that person's autograph. I want to, I want to find out what they know, and all of a sudden now I was the other person. So, but it was great, and I really enjoyed my whole time, my career, and all the fans and the people and the friends I made along the way.
2 strikes on the pinch hitter, Tyler Colvin. How about playing in Chicago and just the aura surrounding the Bulls championship teams? You have the Blackhawks in the Stanley Cup Finals. We have a packed house here at Wrigley Field. There's no place quite like it.
But you know what? And after having an opportunity to play professional sports and go around, there's nothing like Chicago. Chicago has phenomenal fans. The Cubs or the Blackhawks right now are in the Stanley Cup. The Bears, the Bulls. So I mean, it's really a treat and really an honor to be able to play here in the city of Chicago. There's nothing like it. The support that they give, and all they ask is that you give your best effort. And this really is it was a blessing for me to be able to play here and perform here in the city of Chicago.
2 outs in the inning. We're with B.J. Armstrong. So who's going to win the NBA Finals once we get there?
Well, Lakers now, I think this is their 3rd year in a row they're going to reach the final. And I think they're very poised this year to win the NBA championship. I think they have the addition of Ron Artest, I think will prove to be a good move for them. They have the best player right now in basketball in Kobe Bryant, Paul Gasol. is playing great as the number 2 guy. So I think the Lakers, when you look at the whole picture, I think are the team that's going to be the team to beat here in the NBA Finals.
1 strike to Kosuke. It's a glorious afternoon. The Cubs trying to get on that comeback trail. Soto homered earlier this inning. So what else you have going on? I'm sure it's nice to not be on the road as much as you were during your playing days and be a family man.
Yeah, well, just trying to really, as I'm in the representation, so I'm probably on the road more now than I was as a player. But other than that, the family's not complaining too much. I'm not in their hair too much. So it's been good. I mean, here in Chicago, it's kind of the off season for basketball. And as you mentioned earlier, things pick back up July 1st. The draft is right around the corner. So we're staying busy as well, even though it's our off season here and pretty soon.
A classy guy. It's always great to see you, BJ, and good luck to Derek and the Bulls, and we'll see you soon.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much.
It's BJ Armstrong. The comfort of the Wrigley Field Mezzanine Suites, presented by Nuveen Investments. Suites are available now for games during the season. To book your suite or for more info, visit Cubs.com/suites or call 773-404-4200. Lefty John Graybo is in. One and nothing on Yadier Molina. Make it 1-1. 41,353. The biggest crowds of the season here at Wrigley. Outside corner. 1-2. Late swing by Molina. Jason Mott just got up in the Cardinal pen. Adam Wainwright due up third in this inning. He's probably done for the day. Braves got 3 in the bottom of the 8th and beat the Pirates 5-2. So Pittsburgh will go into this upcoming series against the Cubs having lost 5 in a row.
Boy, is he lost. Took a wrong turn somewhere.
back around 1981. By the looks of that uniform. Fukudome in that sun field here in the late afternoon hours, but able to make the catch. And with Brendan Ryan coming up, Nick Stavanoa has jumped into the on-deck circle for Wainwright. So on Friday against Chris Carpenter, the Cubs could only muster a single tally on a solo home run in 6 2/3, and today in 7 against Adam Wainwright. Cubs also could only get 1. But I think we both agreed that Carpenter, in terms of his stuff and location, he was just okay on Friday. Wainwright was really good today. Ramirez will throw out Brendan Ryan. That was a low throw, but Derek able to field it cleanly.
Well, and I think we've talked about this before, but there is a definite protocol in inserting a player. Nick Stavanoa came out into the on-deck circle. It was announced up here in the press box to alert the media that there might be a pinch hitter in the next spot in the lineup. But he's not officially in the game until his manager, Tony La Russa, points at him as he's walking up to home plate. Now, inadvertently, there have been some PA announcers in the past. As they see that guy walking up from the on-deck circle, they go ahead and announce him as the hitter. But until the manager alerts the umpire by pointing at the player, only then does the umpire turn around and alert the press box that Stavanoa is the hitter. A minor little thing, but when you get some gamesmanship involved late in the ball game, you want to do it right.
Absolutely. Nice job by John. Lee and Ramirez against right-hander Jason Mott, a hard thrower, just a bundle of energy. Once he gets into his mid-inning routine. And then he works to Ryan Theriot, who is 1 for 3. Outside corner, strike one.
Fastball, cutter, curveball from Mott, but you're probably going to see a whole bunch of fastballs in the mid to upper 90s. 90-mile-an-hour cutter right there. Looked like a little baby slider working away from Theriot.
Looking at the Cubs minor league report, Chad Tracy had 3 more hits for AAA Iowa last night as Ludwig was playing in. Just circling around out there, makes the catch. I want to congratulate Brett Jackson, an outfielder, Rafael Dolis, and Aaron Schaefer, a couple of right-handers, all Daytona Cubs who have been named to the Florida State League All-Star team. Third baseman Ryan Flaherty with a 12-game hitting streak, and young Michael Brenly with a 3-hit game last night.
Go Biff.
They're just a couple of games under 500 after a very slow start. Back to AAA, Andrew Kashner. A couple of straight scoreless relief appearances as he tuned up for what will be a major league call-up. One and 2 on Lee. Over in the American League, Boston beat up the Royals 8-1. John Lester got his 6th win. Toronto beat Baltimore 6-1. Ricky Romero improving to 5-2. A complete game for Romero. He had 6 hits.
Jose Bautista with his 16th home run in that ball game.
Brennan Wells having an excellent comeback season. He's hitting .301. Detroit all over the Athletics 10-2. Max Scherzer over Dallas Braden. Joel Zumaya got his first save. It was a 2-inning save. Miguel Cabrera had 4 hits and 4 RBIs. He's batting a cool .352. Yankees 7, Indians 3. That's a final. A.J. Burnett over Tony Sipp. Good battle here between Mott and Lee. This is a rather motley looking matchup.
Certainly is. I mentioned Mott does throw a curveball. However, he throws it so hard it very seldom takes a good break. Ends up being an off-speed pitch, but doesn't have the same kind of movement as the curveball that we saw earlier in the game from Adam Wainwright.
Here comes the 10th pitch of the sequence, and he struck him out. Don't miss your chance to be part of the brand new PNC Club of Chicago. The new club, located down the third base line, offers high-end catering, a top-shelf bar, indoor and outdoor seating, and other benefits that allow for a truly all-inclusive game day experience. Membership also includes parking for every home game. To reserve your season tickets in the PNC Club of Chicago, call 773-404-4200. One and one to Aramis. White Sox trying to earn a split at Tampa Bay. They lead 8-5 in the bottom of the ninth. Jason Nix with a grand slam in that one. Cubs' biggest fan right there. Who's going to get it? It's like Ludwig coming way in for the third out. We head off to the ninth. All Cardinals today in the rubber game.
Tomorrow night, after the Hawks face the Flyers in Game 2, flip over to Comcast Sportsnet for Smirnoff Vodka Blackhawks postgame live. Get highlights, analysis, locker room interviews, and Coach Q's postgame remarks. Smirnoff Blackhawks postgame live tomorrow night at 9:30 and after every Hawks game on Comcast Sportsnet.
Blackhawks flags downtown. Everywhere you turn here in the city of Chicago. Game 2 coming up. And on the hands of Skip Schumacher, he fought it off. 0-2, John Grabo with a 1-2-3-8. Swing and a miss. It was a little up on the slider, but he still got the strikeout. 2 hits, 2 runs for Ludwig. Foul tipped. 0-1. Mets lead the Brewers 6-4 in the bottom of the 8th in Milwaukee. Pagan with a homer for the Mets. Ricky Weeks with 2 for the Brewers. With the Reds losing today, San Diego could end the day with the best record in the entire National League. That's how crazy a start this has been. They trail at home to the Washington Nationals 1-0, but they're only in the 3rd inning. We can sit here and talk about Petco Park all we want, but the Padres actually have a better road record than a home record. They're 14-9 on the road.
Good race for that team ERA title in the National League going into play today. The Padres had a team ERA of 2.98 while the Cardinals had an ERA of 2.99. Adam Wainwright's performance today, that'll go down a little bit more.
Long way to go, but Tampa Bay in the American League with a 3.08. Seattle second with a 3.72. That's a pretty big lead. Still 3-2 to Ludwig with Pujols on deck. He's hit 2 home runs today. Strike 3 on a fastball.
Very well placed fastball right on the corner at the knees. Ludwig knew it, started walking away before the call was even made by Mike Estabrook behind home plate. Can't hit it, can't take it.
Homer, a walk, a homer, an intentional walk. I don't know if I like the trend here.
Yeah. I mean, Albert Pujols, obviously one of the best hitters in the game, one of the most feared power hitters in the game, has a great eye. Seems to me like when the Cubs have had success against him in the past, and granted, you've got to change his eye level, you've got to change speeds, you got to pitch him in, pitch him away. Seems like when the Cubs have had their best success, they just stay low and away. Fastballs low and away, changeups low and away, breaking balls to the back door low and away.
Deep to center. Bird back on this one, and he has done it again into the basket for his 3rd homer of the game. So Albert Pujols with his 4th career 3-homer game.
Well, thank goodness for the 2 walks. Otherwise, he may have had a 5-homer game today. That's how locked he is at the plate. I mean, that pitch wasn't horrible. Just off the outside corner, just above the knees, and he went out and blasted it to straightaway center field.
Last time he went deep 3 times, September 3rd of 2006 against the Pirates. 7-1. Just hope it wasn't something David Kaplan said to him before the game. One and two to Holiday.
That's all it takes. We'll have Cappy go down to the Cubs bullpen, or Cubs clubhouse rather, before every ball game and talk to them.
Cue shot foul. And a base hit for Holiday. That's his fourth. They've all been singles. So it's David Freese with 2 outs. And there's a deep drive for David Freese. Hello, Waveland again. That's a third Cardinal home run out into the street. 9-1. Freese hits his first career homer in this ballpark, and he hit it a long way.
How quickly things turn around. John Grabo with a tidy 1-2-3 eighth inning. Got the first 2 batters in this inning on strikeouts, and then homer, single homer.
Going outside to Jay. More inconsistency from veteran left-hander John Grabo. Punched out in the left for another hit. There was nobody up in the bullpen when the inning started, and that might change. Larry Rothschild is heading out to the mound. It's still quiet out in the pen. Well, this final out here in the 9th has been very tough to come by for John Grabo.
His command was so good back in the 8th, and as I mentioned, the first 2 hitters here in the 9th was hitting his spots, keeping the ball down, and now all of a sudden everything is up over the heart of the plate, and the Cardinals getting some real good rips at him here with 2 outs in the 9th.
Strike to Molina. Outside on a changeup. 14 hits now for St. Louis, including 4 home runs, 3 from Albert Pujols. The kick and the pitch hit foul 2-2. It's been a weird homestand. The Cubs' 3 wins have all been shutouts. In their losses, they gave up 8 runs to the Dodgers on Wednesday, 7 to the Cardinals on Friday, and they've allowed 9 in this one. Driven deep to right, but Fukudome will get there. Another hard hit ball to end the inning. They get 3 on a couple of homers. Bottom 9, 9-1 Cardinals. .com. Browse the largest selection of official gear, including the latest apparel, nostalgic memorabilia, and authentic classics for the whole family. Get your gear from the official source, the Cubs.com shop. Accept no substitutes. Well, it's been a tough day for the Cub fans here in attendance, as the Cardinals have pulled away late, leading 9-1. Right-hander Kyle McClellan will face Marlon Byrd. Strike 1. Cardinal offense had been somewhat inconsistent coming into this weekend. I think we've seen more of that. 7 on Friday, nothing yesterday, and 9 today.
And once again, you have to take into consideration the opposing pitchers. I think Carlos Silva could have faced anybody's offense, including the All-Star team, with the stuff he had yesterday.
Ground ball to third. Freeze backhands, looks it in, and gets it to Pujols in time. The producer of Cubs baseball on Comcast Sportsnet is Bob Albrecht. Our director is Dave Turner. Our associate producer is Tamara Anderson. Our stage manager in the booth, Christine Charbonneau. Our technical director, Chuck Jackson. Our tech manager, Mark Harper. The senior executive producer of Comcast Sportsnet is Jim Corno Jr. And as always, wonderful work by our entire crew. Unfortunately for the Cubs, wonderful work today by Albert Pujols. Skipped to Ryan. Almost a collision at first. Pujols able to avoid that. It's up to Soto, who has supplied the only run to this point for the Cubs, a homer in the 7th off the starter Wainwright. Well, as you said, a lot of motivation for Randy Wells tomorrow. I think there's a lot of motivation for this entire team, as the Cubs will face a Pirates team that has beaten them 5 out of 6 to start the season series.
Yeah, you'd like to think so. I mean, over the course of the season, especially within your own division, when you see your opponents so many times, you want to make sure you turn those numbers around, especially given where most people thought the Pirates were going to finish in the Central Division this year and where the Cubs were likely to finish, and where the results certainly have not been according to what we expected.
1-2. Cubs have been outscored by 17 runs in 6 combined games against Pittsburgh this season. Hopefully that'll change tomorrow. Cleland gets a sign. The kick and the 1-2 pitch. A pop up by Soto. This will do it. Freese makes a catch, and the Cubs are 1-2 against St. Louis to start this season series. And it was the Albert Pujols show today. Hit 3 home runs in support of Adam Wainwright and company. And Albert is our GMC player of the game. He started it in the first inning, and the pattern today was homer, walk, homer, walk, homer.
Well, there's a reason this guy's going to make $1 gazillion. He's the best hitter in the major leagues, combining power, average, eye at the plate. He can do it all. When he's locked in, there's nobody better.
So the Cubs will hit the road for 9 over the next 11 days at 24 and 27. That will wrap up our game.